Part 64. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 631. Successful Survival in Desperate Situations. Yabai opened his eyes, collected all the golden leaves on the tree, and finally uprooted the entire tree. Since losing his fortune, Yabai has no desire to think about tea or food, and even the pleasure of shearing wool has been halved. The days are like years, which belongs to yes. Now, Shura, who was forced to have no way out, finally broke out. With his own efforts, he broke through the bankruptcy. Too powerful Shura. Even as a mere passerby, Yabai wanted to cheer for Shura at this moment. There has never been such a wonderful enlightenment. Call. Breathing a long sigh of relief, Yabai began to check the skills he had just learned. Skill name, Midas Touch. Effect, after releasing a target, the Golden Touch judgment will be made. If the judgment is successful, it will be turned into gold material or eternal gold coins, and double experience points will be obtained. If the determination fails, a certain number of eternal gold coins from the opponent will be stolen, and spell damage equal to number of eternal gold coins * 10,000 will be caused. If the opponent does not have eternal gold coins, the damage will be doubled and converted into real damage. Gold is made from gold and is not affected by financial losses. Judgment conditions, according to the grade of the item, the lower the quality, the higher the success rate. When used on living creatures, the higher the target level, the higher the gold coins and experience gained. Consumption, 10-10 million mana, determined according to the quality of the Midas target. Cooldown, 5 minutes. Theoretically, Gold Midas is a magic skill, but it was used by Yabai with the Heavenly King sword. He is still the orthodox mage. The moment he realized the Midas touch, Yabai's wealth-breaking effect was also broken. Here, Yabai actually took a trick. He did not directly purify his own wealth. It's the copper transformed from losing money, and then being turned into gold. You can turn copper into gold. The gold made by Midas touch can be immune to the effect of losing money. In this way, you don't have to worry about losing money due to bad luck. Certainly. Even though he learned the Midas touch, Yabai still thought about the golden abyss. Children only do multiple choice questions. Yabai wants them all. Putting aside the golden abyss. Gold Midas, the skill is also very high quality and remarkable. Among the skills Yabai has mastered, he can be ranked in the top 10. You haven't mastered 10 skills in total. When facing the enemy, if the judgment is successful, the enemy will be directly converted into eternal gold coins, achieving the effect of instant kill, and you can also gain double experience. There's nothing to say, just 2 words. Invincible. It doesn't matter if the judgment fails, you can still steal the enemy's eternal gold coins and cause high damage at the same time. Take Su Qingfeng as an example. Eye of Insight provides an objective and fair probability analysis. Golden Touch, the probability of killing Su Qingfeng directly is 0.56 in a million. Looks low. Don't forget, Su Qingfeng is the 9th level god of war. There is still a gap of more than 400 levels between Yabai and Su Qingfeng. With Yabai's current strength, he could instantly kill a 9th level god of war with the Midas touch and turn it into gold. This probability is already very scary. As Yabai's level increases and his strength becomes stronger, the success rate of Midas will also increase. One day, Yabai will be able to kill a little golden devil. Demon gods of the abyss, tremble before the Midas touch. And even if the judgment fails, Yabai can also steal Su Qingfeng's 10,000 eternal gold coins. According to the damage calculation formula, 10,000 gold coins * 10,000, which is a burst damage of 100 million. If Su Qingfeng did not carry the eternal gold coin, the damage would be doubled to 200 million real damage. In extreme cases, it directly causes 200 million real damage. Although it wasn't enough to kill Su Qingfeng instantly, it was enough to make him drink a pot. The key is such a terrifying burst of damage, no use of force to prepare for it. This is the first time since Ye Bai's talent awakened that he has achieved such a terrifying explosion with his own strength. What I, Shura, am able to achieve today is all due to myself. Is this the joy of enlightening the Dharma? Ye Bai suddenly discovered. Second brother's happiness is unimaginable. The beauty of enlightening the Dharma is that the skills you enlighten are the most consistent with yourself. Gold Midas. This skill is Ye Bai's explosion in a desperate situation. Under huge pressure, he burst out potential far beyond normal. Moreover, it also combines the origin of greed, stealing blessings, and even using it to make money. Only then will there be the intensity in front of you. Overall, Ye Bai was very satisfied with Midas. Next, Ye Bai looked around and found that he still had nothing to do. Idle time is also idle, let's bring back the power of nature first. Ye Bai took out the copper-made natural power and started the Midas journey. Probability of success, 2.58%. Friendly reminder, the Midas touch is an independent single event, truly random. The results of each Midas gold do not interfere with each other, and the success rate will not increase as the number of Midas touches increases. 2.58%? Ye Bai sneered. Even if it is 1 in a billion, he will bring back the power of nature. No one can stop Shura from getting his gold back. No. The Midas failed. The Midas failed. The Midas touch cools down for 5 minutes each time and can be touched 12 times an hour. Ye Bai clicked the button more than 60 times, but all failed. Because it is an independent event, the probability of his next Midas success is still 2.58%. Ye Bai was not discouraged at all and continued to try to turn copper into gold. Suddenly, there was a violent explosion in the void. There's a situation. Ye Bai didn't care about the golden touch, so he hid in his pre-made disguise and arranged the formation and stand-in puppets outside. After everything is ready, Ye Bai hid in the dark and calmly observed the situation outside. Rumble. The explosion sounded again. In the void, a terrifying attack fell, and countless space cracks appeared, opening up a path out. Ye Bai is facing a powerful enemy, waiting for the upcoming enemy. Closer, closer. Just looking at the power of the attack, Ye Bai estimated that it was at least as strong as 10 Su Qingfengs. A very scary monster is approaching you. You can provide him with 1506 calories. Tranquil Eyes even turned on the horror novel mode. It's a pity that Shi Yan's writing is so bad that it's not even as good as a third-rate author. Ye Bai not only didn't feel scared when he saw it, he even wanted to laugh. Rumble. The explosion is closer. Ye Bai held his breath and concentrated, adjusting his condition to its peak, always ready for a big battle. A cave entrance appeared in front of Ye Bai. At the entrance of the cave, a burly figure appeared in Ye Bai's field of vision. When the other party saw Ye Bai clearly, a moment of surprise flashed across his honest face. The three honest figures asked honestly. Fourth Master, why are you here? Ye Bai took off his disguise, looked as usual, and said calmly. It's okay, I'll take a walk. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 632. Ying-san didn't know why Shuro was here. But he knew that he should give Fourth Master a hand. Fourth Master, come up for a walk. Ying-san stretched out his hand, and Ye Bai first handed over a golden tree, and then followed. Shadow 3. This Shura flavor is so authentic. There is no need to verify the true identity at all. In this world, no one can win first place in the Shura imitation competition, except Shura. Ying-san said sincerely. Long time no see, Fourth Master looks as good as ever. Ying-san's speaking voice is very strong, coupled with his honest face, it is easy to gain people's trust. Third Master, why are you here? After escaping from the small abyss, Yabai looked around and found that he was in the second abyss. Second demon god. Yabai said, wiping his neck with his hand, and asked Ying-san with his eyes. Could it be that he was clicked by Third Master? A feeble voice came from above Yabai's head. I'm not dead yet. Only then did Yabai realize that the platform he was on was actually part of the tunnel. The real ground was still far above his head. Listening to the second devil's voice, there was nothing that could be done for a while. If Yabai remembers correctly, Third Master Ying was arranged by Xiaoao to dig a tunnel. A tunnel that can reach the mighty abyss. Unexpectedly, the Third Master actually started digging from the second abyss, which was beyond expectation. Yabai raised his eyebrows. Hey, doesn't that mean the place where Yabai was exiled? Just on the way to the abyss? Yabai was almost exiled to the abyss of the strongest, and was imprisoned with Master Ju. Yabai said regretfully. It's a pity that we almost reunited with Master Ju. Ying-san raised the shovel in his hand and asked seriously. Shall I give you a ride? Yabai. No need to. Now that he figured out where he was, the next thing was very simple for Yabai. He first contacted Xuemeng and others and introduced his situation. Ying-san asked enthusiastically. Fourth Master, do you want me to take you back to Blue Star? Now hearing Mr. Zhang say the word send, Yabai felt a chill on the back of his head. Yabai carefully considered Ying-san's proposal and asked. Does it affect your work progress? Ying-san nodded and said truthfully, influence. Then you go about your business and I'll just take a walk by myself. Matters involving the abyss of power can have a higher priority. Anyway, Yabai is safe now. With the strongest mark and energy on your body, you won't die no matter how hard you wander. In addition, methods such as turning the sky around can be used. As long as Yabai doesn't encounter a level 1000 demon, his life will not be in danger. Now that I have met the Third Master, I always want to chat a few more words. Yabai asked. When I go back, do you have anything to bring? The Third Master is now responsible for digging the road, which is not easy. No matter how you say it, Yabai is the one who speaks for the shadow. Yabai is bound to take care of his subordinates. Have. Ying-san nodded and asked. I can't board the Wanwu Pavilion here. Was your salary paid last month? Yabai sent. Although it was not his own money, Yabai always felt twitching in his heart, as if he had lost money again. By the way, Fourth Master. Ying-san changed the subject and put forward a condition that was not too excessive. In a few days, let Xuemeng come to the second abyss. The aura left behind by that person is very weak. I need Xuemeng to help me find my direction. That person, of course, refers to the person whose name cannot be mentioned, Sun Li. Ying-san relied on the marks and signals Sun Li left along the way when he went to the strongest abyss to dig the passage. Now that Ying-san is in trouble, he needs to turn to Xuemeng for help, which is reasonable. Ying-san didn't explain the specific principles in too much detail. But Yabai could probably guess it. Because Xueju died in the abyss of the strongest. Therefore, Xuemeng, as his biological son, might be of some use. That's reasonable. Okay, I'll talk to him about this later. After confirming that there was no threat from above, Yabai and Ying-san said hello and climbed out of the tunnel. Hey, is this the Demon Emperor's palace? Yabai discovered that the entrance to the tunnel was actually the Demon Emperor's palace in the second abyss. Third Master is peeing. Yabai soon discovered that there was another demon lying on the ground. Strange, why do you say it again? The second demon was lying on the ground with weak breath. He was almost the weakest demon that Yabai had ever seen. He could be called Su Qingfeng among demons. Boy, that hairstyle you used to have, you need to straighten it up. Yabai probably guessed it. The second demon god was in such a mess, most likely because of Third Master Ying's trouble. Yabai secretly thought in his heart. Third Master's background is not small. Unfortunately, the Third Master's identity information requires 99.99 million God of War merits to view. If anyone knows the true identity of Mr. San, Yabai is willing to make a win-win deal with the other party. Even if he charges less money from the other party, Yabai is still willing to take the time to listen. The second demon is lying on the ground. Xuemeng and others haven't come yet. Yabai is just idle, so he might as well. Golden Midas. Yabai tapped an expensive-looking candlestick. Among the 4 most powerful seeds in the human race, Shura is the most difficult to imitate. Now, I'm going to start grabbing. After Yabai handed the golden tree to Xuemeng, he turned back to look at the second demon and said seriously. Second demon god. It's like reading a novel you like. It's obvious that the author has updated it a lot, but it always feels short when you read it. It's the same reason. While waiting for reinforcements, Yabai was in the Demon Emperor's palace, clicking wherever he liked. When others come, they don't have the taste of Shura. Hey, I'm so lucky today. I can pick up money while walking. High EQ, the author is so short. This tree now weighs 28.654872 tons. If you bump into it, it will be yours. Obviously, Xuemeng and Ying Sanyi can reach a consensus on this matter. After Yabai touched the gold for the 24th time, Xuemeng finally arrived. Tired, destroy it. Low EQ, I like this novel very much. After doing all this, Yabai did not forget to look at the second demon and explained. Hundreds of thousands of eternal gold coins appeared in front of Yabai. Happy times always fly by. Yabai did not forget to warn. Click once every 5 minutes, click once for 5 minutes of happiness. I didn't steal anything from you. This money is an ownerless thing on the ground. Whoever picks it up first belongs to it. Please prove to me that I just picked up some gold coins from the beginning and didn't rob you of anything. Big Menzi, come on, help me get it. Crash dash. The most powerful seed of the human race still has a bit of face. Xuemeng took the tree from Yabai. After receiving the official certification of the second demon god. Yes, this person is Shura. Open up. Yabai even thought that it would be better not to go back at all and just make money here for the rest of his life. Ah, yes, yes. The second demon said angrily. Yabai pocketed the gold coins. Before he entered the Demon Emperor's palace, he saw a golden tree being held by Shura on his shoulders. Xuemeng. Yabai smiled charmingly and said humbly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 633. He made the second devil laugh. In the past, he only knew that Shura was shameless. I never expected that Shura would be so shameless. Looking at the duo of Shura and Xuemeng who ransacked the Demon Emperor's palace. The second demon asked curiously. What's the difference if you grab it or not? When it comes to money, Yabai has a very upright attitude and gives detailed answers to the second devil. The money I picked up was my own gain. What is taken on the battlefield counts as spoils of war and will be divided when you return. Second demon god. You can call him shameless, but this guy is pretty well behaved. Separate public and private matters. You say he obeys the rules? How can a person who obeys the rules do such a thing? In front of the second demon god, Yabai and Xuemeng looted the Demon Emperor's palace. That's almost it? Yabai calculated it and realized that he could earn millions of dollars from the god of war's meritorious deeds. Yo! The two immediately transformed into yo-yos and fled the crime scene. Ruining the demon emperor's palace in front of the demon god, Xuemeng would not dare to be so arrogant even if he had two powerful adoptive fathers. Following Shura, Xuemeng finally experienced the power of the most powerful seed. Anyone who is close to the strongest will be in trouble. This time, disaster fell on the second demon god. To be precise, after Shura appeared in the world, most demon gods did not live a very good life. Although, I always feel something is weird. But just feel good and that's it? After looting the second demon, Ye Bai took the golden tree again and carried it on his shoulders. This is the biggest trophy of his trip, and it must be put outside for everyone to see. Let's go see your second father. The victorious Ye Bai was once again proud. Second brother, I'm back. Xuemeng? Is there something wrong? Considering that before, Shura saved Xuemeng once with 100% survival. Xuemeng felt that this matter could be tolerated. Moreover, in the future, Shura will be the most powerful person. If there is a change in the relationship between the two, I can't say it's not. In short, Shura, who was carrying the golden tree, ran from the second abyss back to the first abyss with great swagger, and came to the swordsman in white. Second brother, let's talk first. Ye Bai hid behind the tree and said with a vigilant face. Don't chop me today. Okay. The swordsman in white was in a good mood and readily agreed. After saying that, the swordsman in white took a few steps towards the top of the mountain and said casually. You want to be the strongest person, so you can't be too petty. The sword of breaking wealth has a slight beating meaning in it. The most powerful seed of the human race, grabbing the most powerful adopted son every day and plucking wool, what kind of thing is this? What a harmonious scene between an irritable elder and his love for his younger generation. If it wasn't Ye Bai who was hit by the sword, Ye Bai would definitely approve of this treatment with both hands. But, looking back now, if it has a negative effect, it belongs to Yes. Not only did Shura remain stubborn, he even went further and went further and further down the road of greed for money. Shura's money obsession will probably never change. If you can't change it, don't change it. Who hasn't had a problem yet? Besides, this kind of Shura is more interesting and feels better when cutting. Since Wuhan promised not to chop himself, Ye Bai gradually became more courageous. But I saw the grumpy old pigeon standing on Wuhan's shoulder. Ye Bai once again chose to follow his heart. He guessed that the grumpy old pigeon was probably already in the hands of his second brother. But no big deal. As long as there is no problem with other chess pieces, nothing will happen to you. Even if something goes wrong with other chess pieces, Ye Bai doesn't panic. How can Su Qingfeng, Xuemeng, and their ilk be able to harm Shura? Offend the most powerful adopted son? Joke. Ye Bai is not afraid. Among all the chess pieces, the only thing Ye Bai was afraid of was the exposure of Jing Yanjiu's chess pieces. The person who created the Yingju chess piece in the beginning was exposed. Ye Bai rolled his eyes and ignored Tanyan. Master Ju is in the abyss of power and wants to deliver the chess pieces to Master Ju. Only the third brother has this ability. What would the third brother do such a boring thing? Joke. Ye Bai felt that he was safe. I beg you, don't set a flag for yourself. After returning to the first abyss, Ye Bai's next stop was naturally the eighth abyss. The limited edition engine, the great demon god, once again carries a heavy load and moves forward. How can there be any peace and tranquility in Shura's life? It's all about the devil's burden. In this process, Ye Bai has not been idle either, he has been admiring his masterpiece, the golden tree. Big Menzi, I'll hang a hammock here from now on. I'll sleep here when I'm sleepy. Put a golden futon on top so that I can learn the sword. Do you understand how to learn the sword? Xuemeng, you are a mage. However, Meng really couldn't say these words. He is a genuine warrior, but he is still a swordsman, and he has not been able to master a sword for decades. What a shame. It was just a tree, and Yabai planned out, dining room, kitchen, bedroom, game room. Seeing him struggling there, Meng sighed. This guy is really energetic. But Meng glanced forward, feeling a little strange. From the moment they met, Dad and Lan Bangxian kept a distance from them. Why is that? What went wrong? As well as, according to Meng's understanding of Uncle Lan, the other man's current expression, is he gloating? Meng could hear this meaning from the sword box behind Lan Bangxian. In addition to not knowing the sword, in the way of swordsmanship, Meng's talent is really high. In the history of the human race, there are only 3 people who can compare with Meng. Xueju, Wuhan, Lan banished the immortal. The great demon god's paddling speed was not slow, and everyone quickly returned to the vicinity of the 8th abyss. Seeing you off thousands of miles away, there will be a farewell in the end. Yabai carried his golden tree and happily waved goodbye to his second brother. Shura returned home with a full load and was in a good mood. There is nothing to fear anymore. Oh, right. When parting, Wuhan suddenly spoke, looked at Lan Bangxian, and asked casually. When Sun Li escaped from the abyss of the strongest, was it you who rescued Sun Li? Yabai's ears perked up and his expression became complicated. We were having a good conversation, why are we talking about such an unlucky topic? What does the second brother want to say? An ominous premonition came to mind. It's true. Lan Bangxian nodded and recalled. Sun Li and Yingju were separated and left in an unknown small abyssal plain. When he heard this, Yabai's back started to feel cold. No way, no way. It can't be such a coincidence. Lan Bangxian's words confirmed Yabai's worst suspicion. When I found Sun Li, he was lying under a tree, dying. Sun Li said that this tree saved his life, and he must find a way to repay his kindness in this life. Lan Bangxian's gaze fell on Shura without any hint of ridicule. To be exact, it fell on the golden tree carried by Shura. Hey, this tree looks so familiar. Lan Bangxian said angrily. Isn't this Sun Li's life-saving tree? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 634. What scares me most is that the air suddenly becomes quiet. When Lan Bangxian told the truth, Yabai felt like he had been hit by a sword in his knee. This sword is more cruel than breaking wealth. With tears in his eyes, Yabai looked at the golden bad luck tree suspended in the air. It would be unlucky to bring this thing back to the exclusive space. Smashed. Everything was smashed. Yabai looked at the golden tree and thought about how to place it. Big fierce man. As soon as Shura opened his mouth, Meng was excited and said quickly. I really don't have much money left. Meng earned a lot during this trip. In fact, Meng, as one of the strongest warriors in the human race, always takes the lead in every battle and kills the most monsters. In terms of income alone, Meng's revenue is quite impressive. No matter what, 99.9% of his income has nothing to do with him. When he arrived at Shura, Meng not only had to spit out his meager savings, but he also had to rack up a huge debt. Meng now. Hearing Shura call me gives me a headache. A conditioned reflex has been formed. Who talked about money with you, vulgar? Yabai felt that talking about money was too vulgar in his friendship with De Menzi. How many Wanwu pavilions do you plan to repay for the life-saving grace you gave me? Meng? Shura, you are drifting. Normally, the evolution of monetary units is gradual. For example, Dragon Coin, Eternal Gold Coin, God of War Merit. This kind of advanced level is emotionally acceptable to everyone. It's great to be here in Shura. He jumped directly from the god of war's merit to the pavilion of all things. It was as if Su Qingfeng's strength had increased to a level of carefreeness in one breath. That's ridiculous. That's the Wanwu pavilion. A few more. Even Xiaoao, the strongest person in the human race, only has one Wanwu pavilion. I'm not a person who takes advantage of others in return. Shura changed the subject, pointed at the golden tree, and said seriously. You can hold this tree for me for a while, isn't it too much? This Sun Li life-saving tree is somewhat too unlucky. Let Ye Bai take it back, it will be worse than losing money. But let's just throw it away. Ye Bai couldn't bear to let it go. Under the dilemma, Ye Bai made a decision that went against his heart. Xuemeng suffered another hardship, and Sun Li came to bear the insult. Where is Shura? Shura non-stick pen. Tit for tat, that's fair. In fact, Xuemeng had no objection. This price is better than letting Xuemeng rub the Wanwu pavilion with his hands. Xuemeng owed Shura his life-saving grace in exchange for the temporary storage of the Sun Li life-saving tree. Ye Bai muttered. The strong man has a tough life, he should be able to bear it, right? Thinking of this, Ye Bai was a little unsure. He looked at Wuhan and asked proactively. Second brother, if Xuemeng holds this tree, I won't die, right? Xuemeng? This is already the second time a question mark has appeared over Xuemeng's head. A normal person's logic would be to care about whether Xuemeng will die, right? It would be better for Shura, for fear that Sun Li's law of cause and effect would affect him, so he asked himself first if he would die. I really admire you, the fourth child. You shouldn't be the fourth child, you should be the sixth child. Facing Shura's question, Wuhan nodded and said seriously. You won't die. Anticipating Shura's next question, Wuhan continued. Xuemeng won't die either. Sun Li is just unlucky, not unlucky enough to die. Otherwise, the first person to die was Sun Li himself. Holding the golden tree, Xuemeng will be unlucky for a while, but not for long. It only takes a lifetime. I can rest assured that. Shura thrust the golden tree to Xuemeng from the air. This matter is settled. Xuemeng looked at the golden tree, one with two heads. This is a big deal. You could say that he suffered a loss, but Xuemeng actually saved his life. No matter how high the price was, Xuemeng was willing to exchange it. Maybe Xuemeng took advantage of it, this tree is so unlucky. Ye Bai did not forget to comfort him. My second brother has told your fortune. You will not die, and nothing will happen to my 28.6584663-ton gold tree. This is a win-win situation. Just as Xuemeng was about to fall into isolation, he suddenly realized something and retorted. Why did you become heavier? The number Shura reported last time was not this. Don't challenge the memory of a 9th level god of war. Even if he is Xuemeng. I added some gold decorations to it. Ye Bai felt that every word he spoke opened a wound in his heart. Another loss. Fine. Seeing Shura's appearance, Xuemeng felt a little happy in his heart. Without staying too long, Ye Bai said goodbye to Xuemeng, Wuhan, and others. His next task is to complete his internship and return to Blue Star. Poseidon has become the 8th demon god, and the crisis has been resolved. The demon god of the abyss cannot make any waves in a short period of time. Xuemeng, who was carrying the golden tree, had to go to the second abyss to help Ying San find the direction of the supreme abyss. Originally, according to Xuemeng's idea, he could just stay in the second abyss. It would be too troublesome to run around. But, under the banner of protecting Xuemeng, Shura forced Xuemeng to go with him to protect him. Before, Xuemeng could still straighten his back and retort a few words to Shura. But, with the previous life and death battle, Xuemeng knew very well that the strength of the 9th level god of war had its limits. if a level 1000 monster were to risk everything to kill Xue Meng. The best result would be for Xue Meng to break free from the chains of the law, break through on the spot, kill his opponent, and then ascend to the upper realm. The worst outcome would be for Xue Meng to trade one with his opponent. No matter how you say it, the human race will all lose Xue Meng. The most powerful seed can be replaced, but the most powerful adopted son is indispensable. The human race cannot live without Xue Meng, just like the sheepfold cannot live without Xue Meng. After Shuro left, Xue Meng looked at the tree with rare hesitation. Since Xue Meng knew that he would not die, he actually didn't care much about the side effects of the bad luck tree. No matter how unlucky it is, can it be as bad as Shura? Being close to Sun Li will make you unlucky. Could it be that Xue Meng, who was close to Shura, was lucky? It's all a disaster anyway, so what's there to be afraid of? In a sense, Xue Meng is already immune. Numb. But there was one thing that Xue Meng couldn't let go of. Dad, this thing won't affect my ability to help find the abyss, right? Xue Meng himself had nothing to lose. He was mainly worried that he would ruin the important matter of finding Uncle Ju and his biological father. It's just a small tree, what's the harm? Wilhen stood on the top of the mountain and stretched. I missed a sword today, and I feel unhappy. Xue Meng raised his eyebrows. Is the banquet going to start again? The swordsman in white stood on the top of the mountain and stood quietly for several minutes. It's been a bit long. Xue Meng looked at Lan Bangxian with some curiosity. What's wrong with my second father? Is he in a daze? All right. Wilhen suddenly spoke, and he realized a sword. The moment Wilhen opened his mouth, sword slaves appeared around him and began to record Wilhen's words and deeds. In fact, everything Wilhen did and every sword Wu made were recorded by the sword slave. My son's life is full of misfortunes, and his loving father can't bear it. I accidentally enlightened him with a sword. The swordsman in white casually struck Xue Meng's eyes with his sword, and also landed on Xue Meng's body. This sword can prevent disasters. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 635. Avoid disasters. As the name suggests, Xue Meng has nothing to fear. The sword in the hand of the loving father struck the wanderer. Xue Meng learned this sword at the same time he was struck by the sword. He couldn't help but be curious and asked, Dad, why don't you use disaster avoidance on the golden tree? In that case, wouldn't everything be fine? Shura carried the golden tree back and everyone was happy. Wilhen glanced at Xue Meng, and for a moment he didn't know what to say about his adopted son. After thinking about it, Wilhen spoke again. The wooden pile has a saying that is very correct. Please remember it. Xue Meng, who was carrying the golden tree, kept nodding his head with a very serious expression. Wilhen pointed at the golden tree and said, This is not my tree. The universal statement belongs to yes. Xue Meng. Second dad is right. This is Shura's tree. To avoid disasters, it is also Shura's tree to avoid disasters. What's the matter with Wilhen? Xue Meng is Wilhen's adopted son. Could this tree be Wilhen's adopted son too? After thinking about it, Xue Meng ran into the void and rushed to the second abyss. This time the trip to the abyss has come to an end. The wind and clouds are surging, murderous intentions are hidden, and a single move can affect the whole body. The human race has another safe day on the tightrope. The fifth abyss. The place where the Nightmare Legion is stationed. After a fierce battle, with the return of the fifth demon, the human legion put away its troops and both sides ceased their activities. During the retreat, an 8th level war god spoke respectfully. Deputy Commander Su, aren't we here to save Shura? Su Qingfeng nodded. Yes, this is the order I received. With that said, Su Qingfeng took out his tablet and clicked on the combat instructions. It was clearly written on it. Let Su Qingfeng lead the Nightmare Legion to the fifth abyss to participate in the rescue operation of Shura. Su Qingfeng emphasized. This order was issued from the shadows and was reviewed by the command center. There will be no mistakes. The 8th level god of war took the tablet and found a signature signed by a dragon and a phoenix at the bottom of the order. Shadow 2. The order from the second vice captain of Shadow. Many war gods present felt their hearts pounding. The second deputy commander of the Ying dynasty has a great reputation. Everyone knows that he is in good spirits. It's okay to let Mr. Ying take the lead in the charge, let him give the orders. This major is a bit far behind. Su Qingfeng saw everyone's concerns and patted his chest to assure him. Don't worry, Shura must have successfully retreated under our cover. When you get back, don't leave. I'll treat you all to a barbecue. Putting aside the nightmare army of the fifth abyss, Shura, who ended his wonderful adventure, finally returned to the safety of the eternal forest. Call. Seeing the familiar eternal tower, Ye Bai breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. Back alive again. Film 4. You don't have to worry so much. From Yingxi's point of view, it doesn't matter if Shura cherishes his life a little. But it is rare in the world to be as afraid of death as Shura. As long as Wuhan and Xiaoao still exist, Shura's life would not be in danger. Actually, how could Ye Bai not know this truth? In fact, Ye Bai knows better than everyone else. No one understands the relationship between the most powerful seeds and the most powerful people better than him. The problem is, Ye Bai got up and minimized the risks and dangers. Thus, the strongest ones don't need to take action. Whether it's Wuhan or Xiaoao. If they take one less shot, the overall strength of the human race will be stronger. Ye Bai has always calculated this account very clearly. It can even be said that the human race has benefited a lot precisely because Shura spared his life. After returning to the eternal forest, Ye Bai walked in the forest and asked casually. Captured prisoners. Locked in the shadow prison of shadows. Ying Si thought for a while and added. It is guarded by a heavenly god of war, a restriction placed by the most powerful person. In this way, no one can escape from prison unless Prince Wang's father comes. Okay, let's put this matter aside for a while. In the 8th abyss, Ye Bai actually had the opportunity to support Prince Huang as the 8th demon god. Ye Bai even trained Huang Taizha for a day and taught him the shadow system. Moreover, from a human perspective, Prince Huang is easier to control than Poseidon. Finally, Ye Bai gave up the plan and went ahead with the original plan. There was no way, Prince Huang was involved in the abyss of the strongest, and it involved so much that Ye Bai couldn't help but be cautious. Now that Prince Huang is locked up in the shadow prison, he doesn't need Ye Bai to worry about him. There will be professional talents responsible for interrogating and digging out corresponding intelligence. And this information will be sent to Ye Bai as soon as possible. After arranging everything, Ye Bai did not immediately return to Shanghai University to report. First, this trip to the abyss was too exciting, and Ye Bai needed some time to calm down. Secondly, Ye Bai looked up at the Eternal Tower. He had some questions to ask his third brother. Now Ye Bai has the strength and qualifications to know the truth, at least part of the truth. But don't rush any of this. Ye Bai decided to go back to his exclusive space to rest and hug his favorite little golden pig to get rid of bad luck. In a sense, Ye Bai owed Master Fool a favor. During this trip to the abyss, Ye Bai solved a lot of troubles by relying on the shaking of people in his exclusive space. If you owe a favor, you must find a way to pay it back. Ye Bai just came back and was planning to tease the fool. In a dilemma. When he realized the golden touch, a golden leaf fell on Ye Bai's palm, and he put it in his pocket. Otherwise, the profit will be compounded, which is terrible. He touched it out and his expression suddenly became rich. Yabai held the rotten pig, casually took off Dracula's golden hat and put it on the pig's head. How could you forget this? But, it's gold. Not a good color. Yabai was a little confused for a moment. After a second, the demon lord's figure appeared as promised. Are you still wearing this cuckold of yours? Logically speaking, it should be very unlucky. Lilith moved her limbs wildly in protest. Idiot. I'm back. How could you forget this? I have a gift here. If you don't mind it, just accept it. And dirty. While walking, Yabai's fingers touched something cold in his pocket. In a dedicated space. His. In addition to being praised for his fairness and justice, Yabai also has a very important point: clear accounts. This leaf grows from Sun Li's life-saving tree. Yabai reluctantly took out the golden leaf and handed it to Master Fool. A golden leaf. Even if she is messed up, she is still a clean messed up pig. Yabai tapped his finger lightly, and Dracula's hat changed from green to yellow. The green light above Dracula began to flash at high frequency, and even beat a beat. Master Fool is a demon. Humans and demons are incompatible. How can Yabai, the strongest human race, owe a favor to the demons? It's not too late to think about what to do next. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 636. Unlucky. Master Fool's face turned cold. It's the most unlucky thing to give you a dedicated space. Her eyes fell on the gold leaf. Master Fool must seriously consider whether this is her only chance in this life to take the gold from Shura. No need to think about it, absolutely. Even if it's bad luck, Master Fool will take it. Brush. The golden leaf was taken away by Master Fool. Yabai looked at him eagerly. Idiot, I finally got you some gold, why don't you go shake the money tree? Nowadays, Yabai no longer covets what the Fool Master shakes out. Just watch the Fool Master shake the money tree, just for fun. If you want to have fun, you still have to watch the idiot Master shake the money tree. Just leave. The two came to the money tree, and Yabai laid a layer of plastic on the ground in advance. Master Fool frowned, very puzzled. Dracula appropriately asked. Master, forgive my shallowness and ignorance, does your humble servant have the honor to know the profound intention of your move? Cain on the side. Kneeling and licking this road, Cain will never be able to surpass Dracula in this life. Just in terms of vocabulary. Cain has already lost too much. Coupled with the accent of Dracula, the old vampire count. One word, authentic. Yabai explained. Prevent the gold leaves from falling and contaminating my money tree. Fool Master. This guy thinks a lot. The Fool Master stretched out his hand and plucked at the money tree twice. Crash. This time, a bunch of copper coins actually fell out. Yabai. You cheated. The Fool Master sneered. Oh, do you have any evidence? Yabai fell into silence. The Fool actually got lucky? This unscientific. The Fool Master gathered up a pile of copper coins and left the scene arrogantly. Yabai put aside the matter of Master Fool for the time being. He had more important things to do. A prompt popped up in front of Yabai's eyes. Money tree success probability, 0.001%. After success, the items produced by the money tree will have a high probability of being gold-plated. Are you using this to test Shura? When did Shura stand up to this test? It's just this success rate, it's a bit too painful. Previously, the success rate of the Midas touch of nature was less than 3%. Yabai clicked it countless times, so he clicked it whenever he had time. Still haven't succeeded yet. The probability of being a money tree is 1 in 100,000, so let's wait a little bit later. Otherwise, with Shura's character, he should do nothing for the rest of his life and just click on the money tree every day. But Yabai is very confident in himself. This is not the first time he has done this kind of thing. Unlucky trees are also trees. After patrolling the territory, Yabai returned to his room in the castle, closed the door, and fell asleep. He slept for 3 full days. This was the longest, deepest, and most fragrant sleep Yabai had slept in the past few months. As his strength increased, Yabai's energy and physical strength also increased significantly. According to the world record of the human race, the working level can last for 100 years without rest. This record is being refreshed every minute and every second. But everyone has limits. Yabai, who had experienced a desperate situation, consumed too much energy after the explosion and needed a recovery process. If he continued to push through at this time, it would be like driving while fatigued, which would be more harmful than helpful to Yabai. And Yabai was so tired, not only because he lost money. In the 8th abyss, face the 5th demon, and learn the Dharma under the unlucky tree. During these experiences, Yabai's nerves were stretched to the tightest level every moment. He didn't dare to relax until he returned to Blue Star. When Yabai woke up, he gained a new piece of useless knowledge. It turns out you don't have to poop if you sleep for 3 days at a stretch. After washing up, Yabai felt refreshed and grabbed Dracula's breakfast and Lilith's snacks. The 2 vampire pigs living under someone else's roof neither dared to get angry nor speak out. Lilith is very open-minded. Anyway, she was hung up in the Tianxia pavilion, and Gujin was responsible for her daily eating, drinking, and diarrhea. As a lucky pig, she never has to enter a slaughterhouse in her life. Just be responsible for being lucky and that's it. After finishing the work, Yabai returns to Blue Star and returns to the Eternal Forest. This time, before he could take the initiative to walk towards the Eternal Tower, a white cloud slowly fell in front of Yabai. Third brother is coming. Yabai skillfully sat on Bayun, feeling like flying again. Soon, he arrived outside the 99th floor. Your chat friend Shura is officially online. Morning. Good morning. After a brief hello, Yabai didn't hide anything and went straight to the topic. About the most powerful demon god. Yabai told Xiaoao exactly what he saw and heard in the abyss, especially the episode about Prince Huang. After finishing speaking, Yabai also expressed his thoughts and wanted to know more information about the most powerful demon god. In fact, Yabai knew little information before because his own strength was too weak. And now Yabai is finally qualified to come into contact with the truth of this world. Oh. Xiaoao replied lightly. As time went by, such strong men naturally accumulated and their number increased. Yabai never expected that the powerful demon god had such a big background. Yabai continued to ask. After confirming the conjecture. But among all the races, all the strongest ones. SSS level talent is part of the origin of the strongest. If there is no strongest person in the human race. In this world, nothing can stop the most powerful demon. Xiaoao gave a precise definition. After a moment of silence, Xiaoao spoke. Only the human race clearly calls the other party the most powerful demon god. The most powerful god. Among other races, the strong ones prefer another name for this person. The key is, there are many small tribes among all tribes, and they once had the most powerful ones, just like a flash in the pen. Who are they? Eternity relies on its supreme origin to convince other strong men to build the eternal tower with itself. The most powerful demon god is also the result of the fusion of many powerful people and the most powerful origin. Only in this way can he be called the most powerful god. The moment the eternal tower is cast, all existences at level 1000 in the entire world, including those who have been to level 1000. Xiaoyao's words completely destroyed Ye Bai. In fact, you guessed it right, they are fused together. Are so many powerful men fused with the most powerful demon? Don't you have one? There are so many worlds, and there are more than just these few who are the most powerful. In fact, just listen to Xiaoyao saying calmly. Some of the most powerful people will fall into a seal when seriously injured. What is the most powerful source? Among the information provided by Huang Teze, the origin of the strongest is a part that Ye Bai cares about very much. Not the strongest of the 9 eternal clans. Some of the most powerful people will fall down and lose their strength. Ye Bai was not shocked by this answer, but asked. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 637. Are SSS level talents part of the strongest origin? Ye Bai didn't expect this answer. Am I so strong? Yes, I am so strong. Tanyan, who had awakened for the 3rd time, suddenly became nervous. Ye Bai ignored Dan Yan, concentrated his attention, and waited for the next sentence. Third brother Xiaoyao is a little better. Once he starts talking about something, he will explain it thoroughly to ensure that Ye Bai can fully understand it. So, there are only 2 forms of Xiaoyao. Riddler form, understanding form. Now, it belongs to the understanding human form. In this world, there is no such thing as talent. Xiaoyao's opening remarks pointed out the direction of Ye Bai's thinking. Strong men in ancient times had methods and methods of cultivation, but I have never heard of anyone with talent. If you guess more boldly. Theoretically speaking, the awakening talent of the human race comes from the most powerful source. Xiaoyao continued to explain. In the process of talent awakening, the eternal core crystal is actually used to evaluate the physical quality, personality, and status of the awakened person. After matching the most suitable talent, the talent fragments are extracted from the most powerful source. Hearing this, Ye Bai felt a sense of satisfaction that he had been filled in. These days, when reading an internet article, you have to worry about whether it will be unique or unfinished. It would be a blessing to meet an author who knows how to fill in the gaps. According to Xiaoyao's explanation, all talents come from the most powerful source. The SSS level talent is the most complete talent fragment. The second awakening of talent is to take away the talent fragments from the most powerful source again under the right opportunity. It is known that the most powerful demon possesses the most powerful origin. And tens of millions of people in the human race awaken every year, constantly eroding the origin of the strongest. Ye Bai's eyes lit up and his thoughts suddenly became clearer. Many things that I couldn't figure out in the past suddenly had answers at this moment. Why is the most powerful seed a fatal temptation to the most powerful demon? Why did Xiaoyao once say that the human race must have 9 strongest men who are willing to risk their lives to fight the most powerful demon god in order to have a chance to win? The human race needs time. It's not just time for the strongest seeds to grow. It also gives the human race more time to erode the origin of the strongest. The foolish old man moved the mountains, but the Jingui filled the sea. An F-level talent or a C-level talent may be nothing to the most powerful demon god. 10 million per year, 10 years, 100 years. When manpower will eventually be exhausted, there will be endless scarcity of children and grandchildren. By the way, is this how these 2 sentences are used? No matter, that's probably what it means. And as the strength of the human race continues to grow, in terms of awakening talents, the overall level of today's young people has improved a lot compared to those 100 years ago. Why are high-level talents and genius seeds more likely to emerge among the offspring of strong alliances? Because his foundation is stronger than his peers, he will naturally have an advantage when it comes to awakening his talent. Want to understand these? Ye Bai couldn't help but sigh. The person who devised this method is simply a genius. Xiaoao said casually. It's a nightmare. Brother, it's okay. As the first generation of the strongest human race, the presence of nightmares is, actually a bit strange. It is said that the eldest brother is important. It is true. Many major events are carried by the eldest brother in his hands and shoulders. With his own strength, he can turn the tide and save the overall situation of the human race. But the nightmare is too mysterious, and the dragon is nowhere to be seen. Ye Bai is about to reach level 1000 and become the strongest, but there is no news about his eldest brother. Very impatient. After understanding this, Ye Bai still had questions in his mind, so he simply used this time to ask them all. Then, the Eternal Tower is designed to help humans level up and defeat the most powerful demon. No. This time, Xiaoao gave a different answer. The original design purpose of the Eternal Tower was to serve as a reservation in the end of the world for the survival of the 9 eternal races and to accommodate all the eternal races. At that time, there were rumors that the day of annihilation was coming, and all races would die in the annihilation. Eternal used the most powerful origin as a reward to persuade the 9 eternal tribes to build a tower together. The eternal 9 races have agreed that after the end of the world, only those races that participated in the construction of the Eternal Tower can enter the Eternal Tower to improve their strength or settle here. The remaining races can only stay in the Eternal Core City as vassals. Listening to Xiaoao's words, Ye Bai fell into silence. Third brother, you know too much about this. This makes people a little suspicious. When facing Xiaoao, Ye Bai always asks whatever comes to mind. Anyway, Xiaoao won't lie to others. I'll take the liberty to ask. Ye Bai swallowed his saliva, a little nervous. Aren't you eternal? Ye Bai has always been curious about the existence of eternity. The other party is also very mysterious, and his style of doing things is more like a prophet. In short, in the ancient times, Yang Heng single-handedly changed the situation of all races. Xiaoao was so familiar with these things that it was inevitable that Ye Bai would have such a guess. Sure enough, just as Ye Bai expected, Xiaoao answered readily. No. In order to dispel Ye Bai's doubts, Xiaoao even added one more sentence. Eternity is still alive and is now part of the most powerful demon. Ye Bai understood immediately. Just like the ancestors and the others, fused with the most powerful origin. Xiaoao was silent for a moment and gave an answer. So be it. Obviously, the eternal state may be slightly different from the original state. This is not something that level 599 powerful seeds should worry about. Ye Bai reviewed the conversation between the two. According to Xiaoao's introduction, the Eternal Tower is more like another version of Noah's Ark. The strongest men in ancient times reached a tacit understanding that the end of the world would definitely come, and the world was destined to be destroyed, and they began to seek a way out. At this time, Eternity, who possesses the most powerful origin, stood up and attracted a group of the strongest races to build the Eternal Tower. The clues join together to piece together the truth. It's a good idea. I don't know who made the decision to involve humans. In ancient times, Cain elegantly smashed a vampire duke to death with a red wine glass, pointing at the construction plan, furious. But we are already 300 years behind schedule. How long will it take to repair this broken tower? A highly respected elder of the Blood clan prostrated on the ground and said humbly. Great Lord Cain, all creatures near this tower will be restricted to mortal bodies and cannot use any strength. Even the strongest werewolf slave cannot lift a log. Ye Bai also knew that a certain race here probably refers to the vampire race. Isn't it said that only the Eternal 9 clan can enter the Eternal Tower? Why can the human race also enter? Ye Bai couldn't help but sigh. Cain certainly knew the difficulty of building an Eternal Tower. Even if Xiaoao didn't say it. If you let Ye Bai know, you must repay him well. A bunch of trash, trash, trash. Dracula. One ordinary morning. This is a good vampire. Until the Marquis took the initiative. What he wants to hear is not complaints, but solutions. The human race participated in the construction of the Eternal Tower due to a strange combination of circumstances. Yabai still had a doubt in his mind. However, the human race has always been a blood pact type of existence, and no vampire wants to let them build towers. A newly promoted vampire Marquis, as a personal guard, stood at the door and said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, "Your Majesty, since all existences will become mortals, why not use mortals to build this tower from the beginning?" The Taboo Prince, who was responsible for supervising the construction of the Eternal Tower, was in a very unhappy mood. The guard lowered his head slightly and said an ordinary name. When building the Eternal Tower, some races used a large number of human slaves. After the end of the world, in the Blue Star era, the Eternal Tower came to Blue Star, and the human race also gained the qualification to enter the Eternal Tower. Xiaoyao gave an unexpected but reasonable answer. Kane's eyes darkened, and he looked at the Marquis bodyguard with some admiration. "May I have your name?" "For vampires and humans, there are as many as they want. But online games, only I can see hidden information." Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 638. Don't mention the past again. On the 99th floor of the Eternal Tower, Yabai lamented the impermanence of life. In the ancient times, the human race had no talent, no way to practice, nothing, and their lifespan was short. This kind of human race survives in the cracks among all races. It's a blessing to be able to survive. Actually, most of the beings in the 10,000 races don't have much dealings with the human race. Because, it's too weak. People will not do business with the ant nest under the locust tree at the entrance of the village. Because the gap in strength between the two sides is really too big. Only vampires and werewolves, races related to the human race, would interact with the human race. Who would have thought? After the end of the ancient times, the Eternal Tower provided shelter for all races and also became a prison. As for the human race, due to a strange combination of circumstances, their strength has grown. Yabai once again asked new doubts. Since talents are fragments separated from the most powerful origin, if the person holding the talent dies, will the talent return to the most powerful origin? The more you know, the more questions you have. In fact, the confidence gained from today's conversation with Xiaoyao was enough for Yabai to digest for a long time. But the human heart is not enough for a snake to swallow an elephant. Azuras who can subdue the origin of greed can be greedy for more information. And Xiaoyao knew what to say and what not to say. Just let the third brother take care of it. Meeting. Xiaoyao thought for a while and added. But no one died. Hiss. Yabai suddenly remembered that the human race still had shadows. The shadows created by Wuhan and Yingju, the fallen warriors, will survive in another form. In other words, talent has not returned to its strongest origin. Yabai believed that the second brother and others definitely didn't think so much when they created the shadow. Just save if you can, that's all. Who knew that this accident would actually help a lot? Every time the human race seems to have good luck, it is a well-deserved reward after hard work. That's all. Yabai once made a calculation in private. Maintaining such a large shadow army was a loss-making business in a sense. Shadows above the warrior level can also perform various tasks. For those below the rank of general, the outflow is very small. Even so, the humans persisted. As the shadow talker, Yabai felt that his responsibilities were heavier. Make shadow great again. Before Yabai could continue asking questions, Xiaoyao said. Tired? You should rest early, I'll go back first. After saying goodbye, Ye Bai sat on the white clouds and returned to the eternal forest floor. Ying Si had been waiting here for a long time and greeted. Fourth master. Fourth brother. There was no pleasantries for too long, and Ye Bai went directly to the topic of work. The eighth demon god was born. Now the eighth abyss has shadow materials. Send all the available shadows there. In order to compete for the position of demon god, Poseidon emptied his fortune and signed countless agreements that were humiliating to God. Ye Bai graciously granted relief for the huge debt owed by Poseidon. The cost of reduction will be borne by the monsters in the eighth abyss. Shadows can enter the eighth abyss to hunt, and the eighth demon god will not interfere. In a total of 7 days, the debt was offset by 7 million god of war merit. That's a million a day. Time is money, my friend. A chill flashed through Ye Bai's eyes, and he said in a negative tone. If Shadow doesn't earn 10 million god of war merits in 6 days. Ying Si's heart sank. Shura, generally speaking, is a very talkative person. As long as you don't talk about money or life with him. Money is the lifeblood of Shura. Shura values life more than money. Now that the big boss has set the KPI, Shadow 4 only needs to be responsible for executing it. Today's 8th abyss is full of waste, and without the 8th demon god coming forward, the Shadow Legion has no enemies. And Poseidon also needs help from humans. He wants to master the origin of the abyss, consolidate his realm and strength, and suppress the monsters that are ready to move. The overall weakening of the abyssal plane will allow Poseidon to better control the 8th abyss, and will also weaken the upper and lower limits of his strength. But Poseidon didn't care. What happened to level 999 Su Qingfeng? That is also level 999. Only one step away from level 1000. The Great Demon God and the Fifth Demon God both took this step. Moreover, there is another factor that is often overlooked. Today's abyss. The third, fourth, sixth, and seventh demon gods are all vacant. On the surface, Poseidon is the eighth demon god. In fact, it ranks fourth on the demon rankings. Once he is allowed to completely master the abyss and hit level 1000, there is no chance. The shadow army that had been adjusted in advance was sent out. Ye Bai continued. Send Shadow 8 to the second abyss to send condolences to Third Master on behalf of Shadow, as well as last month's salary and performance. The Third Master was absent from work last month and his performance was cleared. We must distinguish between public and private affairs. Even if it is the Third Master, I, Shura, cannot be partial. Give Third Master a time card machine in the second abyss, at public expense. After arranging many tasks, Ye Bai asked casually. Has the battle report been released yet? Congratulations. However, Ye Bai was a little strange. Who asked for help? Why was it so unreliable? Don't make any noise, don't make any noise, I'm thinking. Second Master Ying said with excitement. Oh, I get it. With that said, Ying Si handed over a battle report. Film 4. When Ying Er thinks about it, Ying Ju laughs. In the second class of Tianzi, the second master Ying is fishing. What do you mean, fourth master? No, we will be eaten by dad when we go back. Ahaha. When he didn't know it, Su Qingfeng led people to steal the fifth devil's hometown. The fifth demon god just needs to be dealt with. Ye Bai frowned and looked at a line of words with confusion on his face. Ye Bai ordered without any personal emotions. The smart second master Ying began to use his brain. Okay, the arrangements have been made. Send the second master Ying to the eighth abyss. If you don't earn 1 million god of war merits in 7 days, don't come back. The strong voice of the bad woman came from the shadow. Out. After receiving the message from the shadow asking for help, Deputy Commander Su Qingfeng led the Nightmare Legion to the fifth abyss to rescue Shura. What are you doing? Huh? Fourth master asked us to go to the abyss and not come back. Second master Ying. As she spoke, the bad woman began to cry. Bad woman? The fourth master asked us to kill the eighth demon god and replace him. Going to college is a beautiful thing. Yabai flipped through it and found a blind spot. Second master Ying replied effeminately. Suddenly, Master Ying's transmitter vibrated slightly, and he glanced at the message on it. Modu University. This guy's brain can't think of anything serious. As the saying goes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 639. On this day, Mr. Ying carried his luggage on his back. Of course Yabai didn't know that second Master Ying was planning to kill Poseidon directly. This is a wonderful misunderstanding. After spending 5 minutes and finishing his busy work, Yabai said goodbye to Ying Si and returned to Shanghai University. After Yabai came back, he was surprised to find that Brother Long and Tianping hadn't come back yet. The singer serves as an assistant and returns to Blue Star after completing the set tasks. Xiao Transparent was directly given the lowest rating by the instructor and quit the exercise because of his unqualified performance on the battlefield. After knowing what happened to the two of them, Yabai comforted him. It's okay. I faced a level 499 monster this time, but I couldn't kill it alone. Prince Huang, oops, I've reached level 499. Dead demon ancestor, be content, I'm still level 100. The dead demon ancestor suddenly started complaining. The singer's eyes widened, she didn't expect Yabai to be able to fight a level 499 monster in a duel. The singer asked. Then what? Yabai said modestly. I captured him. Little Transparent. After receiving Yabai's comfort, Xiao Transparent felt even more uncomfortable. The report of Xiao Transparent's previous physical examination has also come out. The analysis report of the institute is very detailed, and two words are revealed everywhere: professional. None of the three could understand. However, this research report is actually a shoddy work. The three of them went straight to the conclusion, which might be the only thing they could understand. The research report gives a total of 2 solutions. One, stuttering can be temporarily eliminated by vomiting caused by dizziness after using items. This is also the method they used before. Simple and crude. 2, you can also take specific drugs to temporarily relieve stammering, but there are a few side effects. Insanity, memory loss, split personality, infertility. Looking at the side effects of the medicine, the three of them fell into silence. The singer patted the little transparent head and sighed. Just keep vomiting. The more you vomit, the more you'll get used to it. Little Transparent. Because Brother Long and Tianping haven't come back yet. The three of them didn't actually have a team class, they just got together briefly and then split up. During the daytime course, Yabai had no difficulty paddling. Soon, he finished the day's training and returned to his small dormitory. Skillfully activating the teleportation array, Yabai once again arrived outside the Eternal Forest, and then entered his own exclusive space. In a dedicated space, Cain was lecturing the 5 clan elders. These vampire clan elders fully understood the spirit of the Forbidden Prince's speech and decided to devote their limited lives to endless work. This meeting lasted 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you continue driving, you will have to pay more. Cain clapped his hands and announced. The meeting is dismissed. After the 5 clan elders dispersed, they arrived at the bottom of the Tianxia pavilion. They all knelt down on one knee, bowed and said humbly. No matter how time goes by, our loyalty remains unchanged, and we can learn from the sky. There is a saying that vampires are good at flattering. This group of clan elders knelt for a full minute before getting up and hurried back to the factory to continue working. If you kneel again, you will have to pay more. Their loyalty is priceless, but their financial resources are limited. You can only buy 150 seconds of free time every day, of which 90 seconds are to listen to Prince Kane's meeting, and 60 seconds to show loyalty to the sister of the blood ancestor. Although the blood ancestor has disappeared and is even rumored to be dead. For these elders of the blood clan, Lilith, the sister of the blood ancestor, is the spokesperson of the blood ancestor. Pledge of allegiance to her is the best way to express your loyalty. Yabai, who was watching this scene, fell into deep thought. Can we hold a special show for Lilith? For example, how much does it cost to meet alone? How much does a smile cost? How much does a glass of wine cost? Unknowingly, Yabai had already pushed the broken snack Lilith in the direction of his idol. I started badly, but I really don't want to become a big star. After Yabai had an idea about this matter, he left it to Gujin to do. In terms of knocking on bones and sucking out marrow, Gujin is the goblin who can best keep up with Yabai's rhythm. Put these little things aside. Yabai called Kane and Dracula. I have something to ask you, and you answer it truthfully. Yabai looked at Kane and asked seriously. Back then, the person who presided over the construction of the Eternal Tower in the vampire clan was your friend, right? Kane's countenance did not change. Right. Yabai asked directly. Who proposed using human slaves to participate in the construction of the Eternal Tower? Why do you ask? Kane felt baffled. He had so many things in his life, how could he remember everything clearly? Besides, the river of blood went berserk and messed up the memory of the vampires. It was normal for them to be unable to remember many things. I can't remember right now. Kane added. Work hard and you should be able to remember. He was very conscious and did not raise money with Shura. Kane couldn't remember who this unfortunate guy was for a while. Shura is willing to listen to the news for free, so thank God for Kane. After recalling the sad past, Kane quickly adjusted his mentality. Dealing with demon lords always feels like a bad thing. The second time, it was again because of distribution. Kane introduced. Memorize it obediently. That's not true. In the chaos, he was killed by the strongest dragon clan. Blackpot. Kane, who escaped the disaster, felt that I had the advantage and participated in the competition for the position of blood ancestor of the next generation. But the previous generation of blood ancestors decided to cooperate with eternity. After his death, the blood clan was still involved. Until the last generation of blood ancestors appeared, they increased their investment. Correct. When Kane mentioned this, he even found it a little funny. This matter is probably inseparable from Kane. Master, I think this guy probably came up with the idea. Every time he thought of this, Kane couldn't help but ask, why is the blood ancestor her? I'm ready to make a win-win deal with him. Between the two generations of blood ancestors, it was Kane's friends who were responsible for building the Eternal Tower. Actually, the construction of the Eternal Tower took a long time, spanning two blood ancestor eras. The previous blood ancestor also disappeared. Result. Kane could share another piece of information with Yabai, related to the Eternal Tower. Needless to say. What are you going to do if you find this guy? Dracula, with a bad smile on his face, encouraged from the side. The old unlucky man belongs to yes. Yabai's tone was very sincere. It was Kane who oversaw the building of the Eternal Tower. A country vampire who appeared out of nowhere defeated the Forbidden Prince of the 13th Old Clan and became the legend of the last generation of blood ancestors. The first time was because of distribution. Yabai rolled his eyes. My, that friend was sent to repair the tower and escaped death. Kane asked too much. An accident occurred. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 640. Hearing the word win-win. Cain and Dracula both trembled. There is already a psychological shadow. Yabai didn't take the two people's reactions to heart. These prejudiced vampires. How can we understand Yabai's thoughts? After chatting with Xiaoyao, Yabai gained a lot of information. While digesting this information, a bold idea came to Yabai's mind. Talent comes from the most powerful source. With their talent, the human race has achieved a qualitative leap in strength, which can be called a carp leaping over the dragon's gate. But can these fragments be mastered only by the human race? If other races are allowed to share the pressure for the human race, and together they cannibalize the origin of the strongest, and weaken the strongest demon as much as possible, it might not be a solution. But Yabai knew very well that doing so had both risks and benefits. The benefit is that the human race can use external forces to weaken the strongest demon and share the pressure of the strongest. The risk is very simple. First, foreigners are not under control. My family, its heart must be different. Dracula and Cain have proven this countless times. Their backbone doesn't grow on the back of their head, but on their forehead. If you give them more power, it's hard to tell whether it will help or create trouble. Secondly, can foreigners afford talents? What are the side effects of taking on talents? These problems need to be solved step by step. But what Yabai has now is just a rough idea, not even a specific plan. Even if the idea is formed, Yabai must submit the plan in the name of Shura to the high-level human race meeting, and go through a series of review, discussion, voting, and other processes to finally decide whether to conduct a pilot test. Certainly, Yabai can also choose another faster method. Discuss directly with the second or third brother. As long as one party nods, it feels feasible. Then you can just go ahead and do it. To put it another way, Yabai can wait until the day he becomes the most powerful person to promote this matter. Regardless, it's always good to have ideas. After considering all factors, Yabai decided. It was discovered that vampires are the most suitable race for experiments. Here's why. First, the blood ancestor is dead and has not merged into the most powerful demon god. This makes the vampires strategically positioned as half-human allies. The way of forming an alliance is relatively ancient and is a common practice among vampires. It's just that, this time the blood-sucking ones are humans. Secondly, the vampire clan is not strong, it can even be said to be very weak. The elders of the 13 clans were hung in the pavilion of all things. Blood ancestor's sister is the ultimate bad snack. The first person under the blood ancestor, Cain, is now half disabled. The male favorite of the blood ancestor, who stabbed the blood ancestor in the back like crazy. Such a vampire cannot be said to be a piece of loose sand, it can only be said to be a ball of paste. Anyone can step on it. In ancient times, for a long time, the werewolves were vassals and slaves of the vampires. By the time of the Eternal Tower era, the 9 eternal clans were joined by the Blood tribe, and they were still brothers of the lower 3 tribes. The decline of the Blood clan is evident. At last, vampires also have the ability and potential to try to accept fragments of talent. If Yabai were to find the benefactor of the human race, the vampire who had helped the human race a lot back then, Yabai is willing to convince the other party to pay to become the human race's experimental subject, try to integrate talents, and see the effect. Naturally, the level of talent is neither too high nor too low. Yabai is going to start experimenting with F-level talents. In the final analysis, Yabai has never been a good person. Even in the eyes of many people, Shura is not necessarily a human being. When he does things, he must consider the interests of the human race in the overall situation, and in details, he must pay more attention to the method and happiness of gathering wool. I really want to find this person quickly. Yabai sighed, and the two vampires trembled again. I said, when you two are free, you can also go to the factory to help out and have fun with the people. Do you understand? After talking about business, Shura, a vampire, revealed his true face and began to share the blessings with the two of them. Sent away two vampires. Yabai wandered in his own exclusive space for a while. Take a look at the little golden pig Lilith, try the Midas power of nature and the money tree, and speed up the forging progress of the Fool Master. After wandering around, Yabai also summarized the gains from this trip to the abyss. Most of the transactions with Poseidon were in public accounts, and most of the income was left in the shadow by Yabai. Shadow earned 12 million from God of War in 7 days, and Poseidon still owes 13 million. Yabai calculated it, and after this wave, including the wool distributed to Shadow by Xuemeng, it was estimated that Shadow's income would exceed 30 million. The merits of the God of War. Windfall. But from another perspective, when Yabai gave the order to expand Shadow Castle, the entire Shadow's fragile fiscal balance was shattered. The Shadow will transform into a terrifying gold-eating monster, and its consumption will be extremely high. These 30 million God of War merits will probably be spent in a few years. If I hadn't met Shura, the talkative person, the shadow of expansion will soon fall into fiscal crisis. As for Yebai's own personal income, from robbing the 8th abyss to the 2nd abyss, Yabai earned about 2 million God of War merits. There is also a golden tree. Thinking of this, Yabai couldn't help but feel a little unlucky. Forget it? Yabai muttered. Forget it? For the first time in his life, Yabai didn't want to count money. But the biggest gain from this trip is that I made a lot of money and learned some gold. Yabai couldn't help but sigh. The potential of people in desperate situations is indeed unlimited. The time soon came to 12 o'clock. As the bell rang, Yabai returned to the Eternal Core City. He randomly found a corner, summoned the Eternal Core Crystal, and started a new round of bargaining. Tower Spirit, Shura calls to the Tower Spirit. Not long after, a grumpy voice came from the crystal. It's so noisy. Shut up. The irritable Tower Spirit curses people online. The Tower Spirit is fierce. Didn't we agree on the price before? Why, do you want to go back on it? The last transaction. The Tower Spirit asked Shura to swear an oath in the name of Xiaoao, and Shura finally chose Wanwu Pavilion as the intermediary. Based on Taling's understanding of Shura, Shura generally wouldn't dare to regret such a thing. But he is Shura. I don't know when it started. The word Shura has the same intimidating and oppressive power as a powerful person. Maybe, this is the different style of Shura, the most powerful seed. No, I want to make another deal with you. Yabai got straight to the point and put forward his own conditions. I want to have access to the Eternal Tower and see what happened in the past. Yabai had seen this authority before when he was in Xiaoao Pass. Yabai wants to get one for himself. This. Tarling hesitated and said. As long as you pass the 60th floor, you will have the corresponding permissions. The 60 level here refers to the strongest seeds that hold the mark of the strongest, so they are treated like this. Others, even if they reach the 90th floor, may not be able to activate the corresponding permissions. Yabai said confidently. I helped you grab so many layers, why don't you think about giving me some gifts or something? Talling. Which time did Talling fail to pay? Finally, after some pulling and pulling, Talling agreed to give Yabai corresponding permissions, but there were many restrictions. You can only view the historical impact of 2 people, and you can't view Nightmare, Shueju, Xiaoao, etc. Yabai sighed and reluctantly accepted the gift. Yabai looked around. Wuhan would definitely take one of these 2 people, and Xuemeng would give the other one. After obtaining the authority, Yebai placed his palm on the eternal core crystal and selected the 39th floor. A familiar sound sounded in his ears. I wish you can clear the eternal tower as soon as possible.